These wedding photographs are not real. The people in these photographs do not exist. I generated these images using AI. This is where we're at with AI technology right now. We can produce images which at first glance not only look realistic, but really beautiful too. I would be so proud if I had taken these images for real. But again, they are not real. These people do not exist. Although they do look like real wedding photographs, they are completely fake. The fact that I can do this is scary. And what does this mean for the wedding photography industry? Hi everybody, this is the third video that I've made about AI just this month. The first two being about the new Photoshop Beta generative fill tool, which I will link to up here. And each time I find out more about AI technology, the more that my mind is just blown. Plus, the more worried I get, because although at first glance it's easy to go, wow, how cool is this? It leaves us with so many questions about what this could all mean. Now, I am not a fan of this technology because of the implications that it will have, but at the same time, I do think it's important that I share with you how I created these images so that you're aware of what is now possible, because it is crazy. So first off, I created these images using an image generator called Midjourney. Now, if you're not aware of Midjourney, you're about to be shocked at what it can do. So if you're not aware, from Wikipedia, Midjourney is a generative artificial intelligence program and service created and hosted by a San Francisco-based independent research lab, Midjourney Inc. Midjourney generates images from natural language descriptions called prompts. So let's open up Midjourney and I will show you how it works. So let's create some images in Midjourney. First of all, we come down to this box at the bottom. We just start typing the word imagine. That opens up this prompt box. And now we literally just have to type what it is we want. I'm going to put in hyper realistic 8K photograph of a bride in the snow. Keep it quite simple, the description. I'm going to put in two other prompts as well. This was just referring to the aspect ratio. I want it to be a 3:2 landscape photograph and the version of Midjourney that I would like Midjourney to use. Version 5 is the latest version. And now we just wait. And here they are, 4 photographs of a bride in the snow. Not photographs, sorry, images. These are not photographs, remember. What I can now do is choose one of these. I think I'm going to choose, I think this one. I'm going to go for version 2. And I'm going to ask Midjourney to make variations of that photograph. So they're going to have slight tweaks to it. So let's just see what it comes up with now. So here's the first 4. I'm hopefully looking to have, I want to have a version which doesn't include a hand, because hands are not Midjourney's strong point. So I'm going to now choose this one, version 2. I can now upscale version 2. And here it is. It's just unbelievable to me that I can do this. This is a really, I think, realistic photograph of a bride in the snow, and I created this in seconds. Before I play with this image further in Photoshop and show you how we can now use this in conjunction with the generative fill tool, here are some images which I generated with Midjourney. Now, although these are incredible, I do think it's fair to say that you can just about tell that they aren't real. There's just something about them which looks a little bit AI generated, which obviously they are. Plus, the hands are usually a giveaway as well. I don't know what is going on with this poor makeup artist's arm and hands, for example, but yeah, it just looks a little bit crazy in the hands. But the craziest thing of all is this: the gap between version 1 being released in February 2022 to version 5 being released in March 2023 was just 13 months, and that is where we are now at. 13 months. In that time, we've gone from here to here. So where will we be in another 12 months? Chances are you will not be able to tell in 12 months' time a generated AI image from a real photograph, which is scary. Also, as it stands, the images which Midjourney creates are relatively small. They are only 1300 pixels across. But what happens if we combine the Midjourney images with 2 other AI programs? So first off, let's open the image that we've just generated in Photoshop Beta. So we're now in Photoshop Beta, and I'm going to use the new Photoshop Beta Generative Fill tool in conjunction with that photograph that we've just, image that we've just created in Midjourney. If you're not aware of what Generative Fill is and what it does, then please go and watch this video, which I made a couple of weeks ago, because I go into it in much more detail, but it's crazy, crazy technology. And as you're going to see here, especially if you're not aware, Generative Fill is going to fill in all this blank space, and it will probably do so in a way that looks crazy realistic. Let's see. Yeah, absolutely amazing. Apart from this bit, it works. We can always get away with it though, because it's the snow. Even the hands aren't too bad. But what I think I'll do is keep this version, but just crop in a little bit more. So there we go. What I'm now going to do, because why not? I just want to show you all that we can do with the technology that's available to us. I'm going to put a snow overlay over the top of this image. So here we go. Let's stretch this over the full image like that. Let's go to screen. Yeah, let's flatten. And let's use the history brush now just to go over the bride's face. Make sure that is on 0. Yeah. So there we go, a crazy realistic photograph, I think. The only thing that will stop me from printing this out is that it's physically not a very big file. Let's just check. It's only 2,137 pixels across. But what we can also now do is open this image up in another new AI software called Topaz Gigapixel and make it bigger. So here we are in Gigapixel AI. I'm going to ask this software to make this double the size, which will give us an image then of 4,200 pixels across. And it will do so again in a very, very accurate way. So let's save this new image. And here we are in Photoshop again, and we are left with an image that is crazy realistic and is 4,200 pixels across, which means that you could print this out. We could have even gone bigger in Topaz Gigapixel AI if we wanted to. This is just to show you what we can now do. It's mind-blowing. So we started with this image in Midjourney, and by using Photoshop Beta's Generative Fill, an overlay, and Topaz Gigapixel AI, we've ended up with this final image. And again, this is all fake. This bride does not exist. So what does all this mean for the photography industry? To be honest, it's hard to think of any real upsides. We are already seeing so many people lose their jobs to AI in so many industries, and it's really worrying to think the impact that this technology that I'm showing you in this video will have on photographers and graphic designers. Yes, you can try to sell the images you create, and I know that there are creatives out there who are doing this, but in my opinion, as it requires very little skill to use this AI, basically, if you can type the words out on a keyboard, you can make these images. And as these images are generated from the AI learning from other people's work, I don't see it as being a valid upside to this technology. Not only can we now generate images of virtually anything that we can imagine, but we can do so in seconds for a fraction of the cost of hiring a human. It is really scary. It also means that photographers and creatives can now create amazing portfolios almost instantly and really easily. Now, they will be completely fake, but how does the outside world know that? They will look crazy good. We have to compete against this somehow. And when it comes to wedding photography, it is more important than ever that couples research their photographer properly and ask to see full galleries, because it is now so easy to make an incredible looking website, which will in reality consist of nothing more than AI generated words and images, but it will look amazing, and that is worrying. Thankfully, no AI can replace authenticity, real experiences, and genuine emotion. So when it comes to wedding photography, for example, even if AI can generate a photograph of people hugging, laughing, or crying, those generated images will never replace those real feelings. And an AI image can certainly never replicate the feeling that you get when you look at a real photograph of a genuine emotion and and remember how you felt in that moment. But having said that, what about landscape photography and commercial photography, both of which require a lot of skill, but people and human emotion aren't as prevalent? It's genuinely worrying. If you would like to hear more about my thoughts on AI, myself and my partner Helen spoke about it on a recent episode of the Flashmasters podcast. I will link to the podcast in the description. But please let me know what you think in the comments, because I would love to know. These are crazy, crazy times, and AI seems to be improving with each passing day right now. So who knows where we'll be in just a few months' time. It's crazy. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I will see you next time.